Welcome to the Fans Ed Sports Show. But thank God I'm not a Florida fan. Just out here looking trash.
People call me crazy for saying they had 6 losable games on their schedule.
That's where I picked y'all preseason.
So I don't know how, but somehow they got some excitement around their program right now.
Welcome to the Fans Ed Sports Show, hosted by your boys, Cleveland, Mike, and Terry from College Football Stop, man. Terry, what's going on? How you feeling today?
Hey, man, I'm feeling good, brother. It's been a good day today, man. My little kids was giving me some crap before I got on here, so there was that. But, hey, that's what they do. You know what I'm saying? That's what kids do.
They keep you young.
That's right. Yeah, you see? But how you feeling, though, man?
Hey, man, I can't complain, man. It's a beautiful day. It's been hot as hell down here in Texas, and it's been pretty cool the past couple of days, so I can't even complain. Just been able to throw on a nice little hoodie. I like that, hoodie and sweats. That's me. It's that season. Yes, I like it. So,
dude, wait, it's hoodie and sweats weather in Texas, bro. It's been hot up here in Ohio.
Man, it definitely was cold. I will say, like, when it got like later in the day, but it didn't last long. Like, then I guess the breeze is what probably made it more cold, and it's been raining like crazy, bro. So
okay, y'all. It's like I guess y'all are getting fall, and we're not.
But see, but it's a difference, man. Like what y'all call hot, like you probably saying hot 70 degrees, right?
Yeah.
What I'm calling hot is, bro, it's been triple freaking digits, bro, or feeling like it's triple digits, like in the mid 90s, high 90s, bro, like, and then all of a sudden it just went straight down. That's why I'm not surprised with the tornadoes, like the way the weather was over this way.
Changing. Yeah,
bro,
I can see it.
It was crazy, man. But I want to talk to you, man. I asked you how you feeling today. But how are you feeling this week after the Buckeyes go ahead, secure their victory, against Penn State? Everybody said, hey, Ryan Day sucks when it comes to top 5 matchups. And then as soon as he goes ahead and beats Penn State, well, everybody has picked Penn State to beat Ohio State. Everybody was like, hey, Ohio State just going to losers look like an easy one for James Franklin. That's not what ended up happening. And now everybody wants to kind of like take this win away from Ryan Day. But no, he has a top 5 victory. And really, I kind of want to know what his record is in the top 3.
Hey, they would have counted it as a top 5 loss if he lost the game. So I'm not trying to hear nothing from the people talking. Yeah, man, that was a top 5 win for Ryan Day on the road. Tough environment. Penn State is a tough team to beat, dude. I know we do it every single year, but look at Michigan. We was beating their ass every single year, and they was a tough team to beat. It just is what it is, man. And Ryan Day took care of business. Ohio State took care of business. I hope we get into it a little bit and talk about it because
go ahead. That's what we're here for.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. So, just looking at that game specifically, the one thing that I should have said the one thing, but one thing that does stick out to me, obviously, we got to talk about the offensive line. I kind of want to get right into that because that was the biggest question mark coming into that game. And I'm looking at the chat. I see Gmo said Penn State's not a top 5 team, and neither is Miami, though. But that's another conversation for another day. We'll get into that because Miami's got a game this weekend that I think could end up being losable. But let me get back on track to Ohio State. But with the offensive line, Mike, like I said, that was the team or that was the unit that everybody was questioning coming into the game, man. And I was excited. I think we maybe talked about it last week on the Fans Edge about Carson Hinsman coming in and possibly stepping in. And he looked really good out there. He brought a nastiness to the offensive line that I think we needed. Donnie Jackson, man, he did his best at left tackle. He struggled a little bit with Abdul Carter, but I can't even be mad at him, bro, because some of the plays, it was just like, dude, Abdul Carter is a freak. He honestly is one of the freakiest defensive ends I've seen in a while. Just, I didn't even give him enough credit. So, I got to kind of step on my words there. But what you think, man? What was your thoughts from the game?
Yeah, my thoughts from the game, because honestly, I was going into this game nervous. Even had you nervous when we were talking last week, and you thought I was gonna pick against the Buckeyes. But yeah, like I said, I'm a ride for the Buckeyes, but I was not going into that game confidently until like the night before, right? The night before, I was posting in the group chat, and I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm like, bruh, you have nothing but basically guard talent like all across this line, and then like two guards on the left side. Why not? And I know I was like looking at the size of Abdul Carter and stuff, and I'm like, why not run the ball, wear down on these guys or whatever, and then later in the game you could go ahead and get those one-on-one pass, those pass protections, because now you don't wore down on him and he's tired. And I just think about going back to previous games where we did, find different ways to tire guys out, whether it was going horizontally, using tempo or things like that, but I mean, they used what I was talking about to a certain extent, right? And to be honest, I liked how they were like, hey, we're gonna go ahead and put Donnie in there 1-on-1. And one thing that we know about this coaching staff is they will throw you to the fire, make you show your worth. But Donnie didn't flinch. He kept going out there. And then, you can say a couple times, he got away with a couple holding calls. What you want them to do? Call a penalty every freaking play? I mean, the guys got to play. Penn State fans, welcome to Ohio State world. Trust me, if you want to talk about holding calls, shit, Penn State, when y'all could barely block Joey Bosa, how many times did y'all hold and they didn't throw a flag?
You don't even got to go back that far, dude. Go back to this very game. Look at what JTT and Caden Curry was doing to their defensive line, bro, and how they was getting held. Listen, I think Joe Klatt said before the game that the refs told him that they were going to let them play, and to their credit, they did. I know you don't really want the refs like coming out and saying like this is the plan, we're going to let them play, but at the same time, like, can't we all agree that football is better when they just let them play a little bit?
It really
like, you can't let egregious stuff happen. You can't let egregious pass interferences happen, stuff like that. But, dude, you can't call ticky-tacky shit or wait until the end of the game when it's a close game and then decide you want to call some shit that you ain't been calling all game. Like, I would rather the refs just let them play. Like, think back to some of the best games Ohio State's played in recent memory, and they were games where the refs just let them play. Like, you think back to Georgia, 2022. Georgia was holding the shit out of Ohio State all game. Ohio State was doing the same. I mean, if you want a holding call, then go a little harder. Like, I don't know.
I think the Big Ten also learned their lesson, because one thing that you don't want to do is in your biggest matchups have that type of controversy, right? And I think that they learned that from the Ohio State Alabama game. Like, let the guys play, let the game be won on the field, not won through the refs. And that was something that I definitely enjoyed. And like, obviously Penn State fans are going to, say, the refs is the reason, but honestly, it wasn't the refs. I mean, you could blame your offensive coordinator for not getting the ball in Tyler Warren's hands enough. But also, I mean, you guys knew, like Penn State fans knew, they didn't have the wide receiver talent. And them boys was getting strapped up. Other than like a couple times.
They could do, man.
Yeah.
It was nothing they could do. Like, listen, Ohio State secondary, they got some flack because of the Oregon game, and I've stood on it that I think that Oregon just did some things that they didn't have on tape, and they really confused, like, especially Denzel. He was trying to jump shit, and there was fakes, and he was getting left in the dust because of it. And, one thing about Denzel, he's always been technical. He's not a guy who's just going to have like a crazy recovery speed. Right. He's just a technical corner who's going to be in the right spot. So once they got him out of the right spot, he was kind of cooked a little bit. But if you're looking at this secondary, dude, I don't expect them to be cooked like that again this year. Right. I truly don't. And, Penn State just didn't have nothing. Like, I honestly forgot that Julian Fleming played for Penn State, but because of that, until afterwards, somebody was like, oh yeah, Julian Fleming had one catch. I'm like, wait, what? Like, I didn't see that shit.
Yeah, one catch for like 4 yards, I believe. But I seen another guy he had posted. Everybody went after him because he posted to Julian Fleming kind of mocking.
Mm-hmm.
But I took it as the sarcasm because we heard in the offseason about Penn State fans talking about, yeah, Julian Fleming's gonna play Ohio State and gonna be the reason we win. Like, like that's what they were telling us. And so
Mm-hmm.
I took it what he was saying as him mocking them because, to be honest, when Penn State fans were saying that, we would go ahead and throw it in the community. So the community was seeing it, right? Like, and he posted what he said in the community. So I felt like he kind of got a bad rep from us. It is what it is. But what we need to talk about, man, is this college football rankings, man. I want to talk to you first about, how did you feel about the rankings? What did you think about the Buckeyes being ranked? We can start there.
All right, I'm back, brother. My bad.
You're good.
I told you before the show, but I'll say it just for the show here. My wife was just coming home and she wanted to walk right here behind me, and she didn't want to be on camera, so I had to, respect the wife because
Hey,
y'all know how it is,
happy
man.
wife, happy life.
Exactly. I'm just trying to be happy, yo. Don't be hating. Nah, but Ohio State came in ranked number 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I think that's the right thing for them to do. I think that's the right rank for Ohio State because you look at the next team behind them, you're looking at Georgia. Georgia has the loss to Alabama, who has 2 losses. I mean, we really don't know, and I know we're going to talk about Alabama here in a little bit. We really don't know how much of a better loss or to playing against Oregon is than Alabama. I think it could be like a significant loss. Like basically, I think you could be looking at the best team or second best team in college football as to a team that maybe ends up losing like 4 games this year because Alabama, they struggled, man. They've been struggling. They're kind of like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type of team.
Right.
And they got a big time matchup this week. So I think anyway, I keep getting off track a little bit, but I do think that they made the right choice by putting Ohio State at number 2. And I mean, we need the Buckeyes to win out, dude, because we need that rematch. That number 1 versus number 2, that'll be sweet.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely, kind of agree with you there. I do believe Ohio State should be number 2, and the reason they explained it was the whole reason why I believe that they should be number 2. Both teams have a loss, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe they both took their loss on the road, and it was how did you look, right? Georgia looked completely like they were going to get blown out in the first half, right? It
Yep.
did not look that way for Ohio State in the first half. Ohio State was actually in the game the whole entire game, where Georgia had to fight, climb back, and Ohio State was able to get the game within 1, and it literally came down to a whole freaking, second, right? So I understand why you go ahead and you put Georgia behind Ohio State.
Yeah. And Ohio State honestly controlled that game more than anything.
Yeah.
Oregon took the lead late in that game, and that was like, so Ohio State controlled it. Georgia looked like they were crawling back and then still gave up big plays at the end of the game to lose it. So I can see why they have Ohio State there. Plus, if you look at like the best win, Ohio State is obviously Penn State, what they just had this weekend, and Georgia was at Texas. Now, I do think that if you ask me, I would probably consider Texas a better win than Penn State because I think Texas will beat Penn State if they played. But still, I mean, when you compare the wins and the losses with Ohio State and Georgia, it's very similar, but they got it right, I think.
Yeah, I think they got it right as well. But I think, when they explained it, they actually talked about logic, like the logic we just spoke about, right? What are the AP poll voters like? What is their logic, of putting Georgia ahead of Ohio State? Because honestly, like that's my whole thing. If you're talking eye test, you're not putting Georgia ahead of Ohio State, right? If we're talking all eye test, that's not what you're not doing. If you're talking better losses, that's not what you're doing. So, I mean, I guess, like you said, talking better win, is that the only thing? I mean, and to be honest, like, I don't know. But I think that we have to start taking, and this is the one thing I'm about to hate, but I think that we have to start taking the AP poll serious. And I always said, the AP poll is a joke. I've always said that. AP poll, flat out joke. Nothing matters until the college football playoff ranking. But as I have right here, to the side of me, I got the college football rankings, and then I have the AP poll rankings, and from 4 all the way down to 13 is the exact same.
Yeah, and you expect it to be, especially for the beginning. Like if you're the college football playoff committee, I almost think you're going to use that as like a data point when you're making the rankings. I know they're not supposed to probably. So I guess what you're getting at is you think the AP rankings are pretty accurate. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I think the AP rankings is bullshit, and I think that the college football playoff rankings needs to do a better job. I'm sorry, but you could talk about Indiana not playing anybody, but everybody that they have freaking played, they have smashed. They have not struggled. We watched. You're gonna put Tennessee. I know it's one spot, but you're putting Tennessee ahead of Indiana, who lost to fucking Arkansas.
It don't make sense, man. They've been disrespecting Indiana, and like I'm almost on the fence about this subject when you talk about Indiana, Mike, because I'm like one of the original people who started hyping up Indiana because I like their quarterback and I like what they got going on over there. Now, as the hype for them has grown, it's almost surpassed what my hype was for them, and now I don't like it. Now because now it's people are like think we're gonna lose to them. I don't think we're gonna lose to them. And honestly, I think they should probably be ranked somewhere around like maybe 6, 5.
I would put them ahead of Penn State.
Yeah, I mean, especially because the rest of the year has to play out. It's going to work itself out anyway. You know what I mean? Like Penn State has that loss to Ohio State, and Indiana doesn't have a loss. Penn State also hasn't really played anybody else good, so I think they should probably be above them and be at like 6.
Thank you. I really think. I think you could go Indiana at 6, then go Penn State, Tennessee. How do you feel about Notre Dame?
Dude, listen, Notre Dame is ranked where they should be, in my opinion. I think that they're a good football team, but if anything, they need to be ranked like lower. Like they shouldn't be ranked no better than what they are right now, because a loss to Northern Illinois has to count. It has to count for something, dude. Like I get it, they if they're taking care of business in all their other games, they obviously have a big time win against who they beat? Texas A&M early in the year. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I think the first game of the year. I think Notre Dame beat Texas A&M.
Yeah, by 10.
Yeah, so I mean that's looking at Texas A&M now, if other than the big loss they had this weekend, which we'll get into that in a minute too, but Texas A&M's been a good team, so they have a decent win. But I think Notre Dame, they should have to wait till the end of the year to get ranked any higher than 10, because a loss to Northern Illinois has to count, dude. Like look at these other teams, Mike. I mean,
that's my whole thing. Like, because my whole thing is this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alabama goes through the schedule that they go through. They don't have the luxury of a Notre Dame getting to create their schedule and the path that they want to take, right? You're going to penalize let's say Alabama, finishes with their 2 losses or whatever. You would penalize an Alabama team, or you're penalizing Alabama over Notre Dame. And my whole thing is like, yeah, we know the issues of Alabama, but I think if you line it up on the field, I'm picking Alabama. I'm not going to pick Notre Dame.
I'm definitely picking Alabama, and that's my thing. Like I like Notre Dame. I like Marcus Freeman, but you can't lose to Northern Illinois, dude. That's just like Like, I get they're a good football team, all that good stuff. It's just not the same level of football, and that has to count for something. So, I mean, even like Boise State, man, I don't know who Boise State's best win is, but their only loss is to Oregon, and it was a close game at Oregon. Put Boise State above them too. Hell with that. And they got a better player. If you put those two teams on the field, the best player is
Thank you. So that is my whole thing. Like, as the playoff committee, you're sitting here talking about this. You have watched the games. You watched the Notre Dame team, and they're also not supposed to project. Right? So if I'm sitting here ranking it, how can I sit here and say, dang, Boise, I'm not going to put you over Notre Dame, knowing that I believe when they went up against Oregon, didn't they come down to Oregon having to make special team plays and touchdowns to win that game?
Dude, yeah, it was like a 3-point game, and Oregon scored 2 special teams touchdowns late in the game to win it.
Okay, so how can I mean, and the team is at a disadvantage. Notre Dame wasn't at a disadvantage when they took their L.
Yeah, I know.
Were they at home too?
They had to be at home. There's no way they played an away game at Northern Illinois. There's no way, dude. I won't believe that.
Yeah, they was at home.
That's sick. That's a sick.
So
L.
you penalize Boise for losing a close game against the number 1 team. It doesn't make sense, and it goes against your exact logic for putting Ohio State at number 2.
It does, yeah.
And that's my whole point about I don't know what the college football playoffs like. I don't know what they be doing. I don't know what's going on. It doesn't make sense. Now, one team that I do want to talk about that will be sitting, as one of the first teams out of the college football playoff is SMU. I think that they are sneaky good, bro. I really do. Clemson is still in the fight, right? Clemson is still in the fight for their conference championship game, but they haven't played or don't play SMU. I don't think Miami plays SMU. So I'm trying to understand who goes to the championship. Like, I don't understand how Clemson, SMU, and Miami avoid each other.
Yeah, that don't really make sense. But dude, the ACC always has weird shit like that, man. Like, look at last year, Louisville avoided basically everybody, and then ended up being in the ACC championship game, and they got beat up by a broken Florida State team in that game. So, yeah, I mean, looking at SMU, man, they don't play any of those teams. They got Boston College, Virginia, and Cal left on their schedule, and I mean, they should win all of those games. So I know Clemson just took an L this past weekend, right? Let me see.
Hold on. SMU's only losses out of conference because BYU is in the Big 12, right?
I'm not 100% sure. All these conferences move around now.
I believe BYU, BYU is in the Big 12, I believe. If I go look at the standings.
They're definitely not in the ACC. They got to be in the Big 12.
Yeah, so there you go. SMU is undefeated. It's right now leaning them in Miami, not Clemson.
Hey, listen, I'm okay with that, honestly, because if SMU is really like that, you tell me you think they're actually pretty good. If they're really like that, then I want to see them make it to the ACC championship game, because Miami honestly has the most garbage football schedule ever, and they're about to just coast through the whole year unless Kyle McCord can make something shake on them. They're about to just coast through the whole season, and I mean, maybe they'll get some competition from SMU.
Bruh, I'm just saying, and when you're looking at points against in conference, Miami is giving up a whole lot more, almost 60 more points in conference than SMU.
Well, we know Miami's defense isn't like that. So
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, the thing with Miami, dude, their offense is just so good, and Cam Ward is just so good that I do think that's a team that could beat anybody on any given day, but they could also lose to anybody on any given day. And somehow they've managed to keep playing these games where they just almost lose and win them this entire year. So I
But
don't know, man.
here's the thing, though, about SMU. SMU got an offense. That's what they haven't. They haven't went up against a team who got a consistent offense. And when you turn that ball over, they can capitalize.
Yep.
Now, I mean, it's gonna suck that it's gonna take you to the ACC championship game. And damn, I tell you this, Miami fans, if you listen, Gmo, if you're still in the chat, you damn sure don't want to lose that game. Because that would mean Miami still would not have an ACC championship since they have gotten there. And that would still mean that I think Maryland would still have more than y'all. Yeah, it's so much. It is so much riding on the line for Miami. And then, Miami fans can say, hey, at least we still get to go to the playoffs. If you lose to SMU playoffs, I don't know. You might want that first round bye, man. You might want that first round bye.
Can we talk about the game? I think Miami has a game this weekend that could be a sneaky game for them.
Oh, Terry, come on, man.
Mike, you do this to me every time, dude. And then we come back the following weekend. I'm like, Mike, remember what I said? Remember what I said?
Come on, Terry.
I think that this game at Georgia Tech is a sneaky game for them, dude.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I agree with that. I agree with you.
I mean, Georgia Tech is like, what? They're 5-4 this year. They're not a good football team. It's just they're simply just not. But they're playing at Georgia Tech. Looking down Georgia Tech's schedule, they haven't been blown out really by anybody. All their games have been close. And so this is the type of game where Miami, I guess they got blown out by Notre Dame, but that's another story for another. We already talked about them. But anyway, this Miami team has consistently been playing these close games. And when you run into a team that's been doing that all year, just like you have, I mean, we saw what happened last year.
I don't see it, bro. I don't see it. Because my thing is this, is Georgia Tech at least got to have a defense. And they don't.
Okay. I mean, and I can see that. I'm not about to go to bat for Georgia Tech because they are, like I said, they're not very good this year. But I think it's a sneaky game for Miami because they're going on the road and they've been playing these close games all year, dude. And that's the problem. You play these close games all year and you get in one on the road, a team can beat you. And Georgia Tech did it to them last year. If you remember.
You calling these close games, bro, but I'm about to tell you, like the last three games was they won against UNC 41-34. We know UNC is trash. So
you're talking about Georgia Tech?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you lost to Notre Dame 31-13, and we've heard how horrendous the quarterback and what they're having to do for the quarterback at Notre Dame. Then Virginia Tech, you go 21-6. Offense non-existent. I know Miami defense isn't good, right? It's not the best. But damn it, they got better defensive players than UNC, and they got better defensive players than Virginia Tech.
Listen, we're talking about Miami's schedule, though. So when I'm telling you that I think they have a sneaky game this weekend, dude, they haven't played a good team yet. So playing on the road at Georgia Tech is like a sneaky game for them. I mean, they played every game they played this year has been a garbage team. And I get it. They won them all. That's cool. Like, you won all your games and you're going to be in the playoffs. Like, that's fine. Eventually, you're going to play against a team that's a real team, and we'll see how that goes for them.
Terry ready for them to fuck around and find out.
Dude, listen, I'm be honest. I am. Hey, we look in the chat. I want to talk about this because Stephen Cherry brings up a good point. This is a game I wanted to talk about. I added it to the list. I don't know if you've seen. So Penn State plays against Washington this week, And Washington has been they've been a decent football team all year, dude. I don't know if I don't think that
Yeah.
they'll beat Penn State because I feel like playing Penn State the week after they play Ohio State is probably the worst time to play Penn State. It's the worst time because they love kicking ass unless they're playing against Ohio State or Michigan or like the top team in the conference. And I could easily see Washington coming in to play Penn State and kind of just getting ran up and down the field. Penn State winning like 34 to 15 or 34 to 14 or something. But what do you think about that game?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're going to go in that game ready, man. Them boys is hungry. They definitely was itching to get back to work. And they also said flat out like Ohio State's defense was showing them things that they haven't seen before, like flat out. Like they weren't ready for
How
Ohio
cool is
State's
that,
defense.
man?
Yeah.
How cool is that, Mike?
They weren't ready for it. So, I mean, flat out, like, I think Washington is what Washington is. And our biggest issue with Washington, I feel like they're a good team. Their biggest issue is they get in their own way. And I mean, heck, even the biggest game that they won this season, they still got in their way multiple times. They were just able to pull it out, right? So, I mean, that's the thing with Washington. I don't think that it is going to be a 24-20 game. I think Penn State is going to go ahead, make a statement, and try to show why they should be still in the top 10.
Look, with Penn State, dude, I can't wait to watch Penn State play a playoff game. For some reason, I just can't wait to see it. Like, I know what Penn State is when they play Ohio State every single year. I also just feel like they're a team that they could really get up for a playoff game and go out and beat somebody.
I mean,
I genuinely think that.
They do it. They do it in the bowl games. Like
exactly.
They do it in the bowl game. So I mean, as long as they don't have obviously with the playoffs, you're not going to have players sitting out. But most of the time when they don't have players sitting out, and then they go and they have a dogfight in them bowl games. So I mean, here's the thing, it's different when you're going up against those teams that you don't face year in, year out, right?
Yeah.
But you go up against you have been going up against Ohio State and Ryan Day since what? Since Ryan Day got there, since what was that, 2018?
Mm-hmm.
So you've been dealing with Ryan Day since 2018.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that right there already tells you, or actually Ryan Day got there in 2017. I think he just got a little bit more reins on the offense in 2018 is what I was saying.
And then took over as a coach in 19.
Yeah. So, let's get into it, man. We got to talk Alabama and LSU. Both of these teams right here, this is playoff elimination. Also, SEC conference championship elimination as well, if I'm not mistaken, Terry.
Yeah, it's a big time game, man. And I talked about this on last week's show. We didn't get too much into it, but this is a big time game, dude. Both these teams, I believe, have 2 losses. Am I mistaken? Let me see.
Yep.
They both have 2 losses, and it's gonna be it would be sad for Alabama, dude, to see them go out this early in the year and not be able to make the playoffs. Like, as an Alabama fan, you know what I mean? Like, Kalen DeBoer came in, the recruiting looked really promising. They went out and beat Georgia, dude. I know Alabama fans were on cloud 9 when that happened, bro. They're like, we ain't going nowhere. We're still here. Don't matter if Saban's gone. And then they lost to Vanderbilt. and was Vanderbilt their first L, or was it
Yeah, Vanderbilt was the first L, and then they went and lost in Tennessee.
Oh man, if they go, I honestly personally think LSU is going to win this game, and it's in Death Valley too, right? Yeah, I think LSU is going to win this game, dude. I think there's real problems. Sorry to interrupt you. There's real problems on this Alabama football team. I think that Kalen DeBoer came into a team that was already on the decline. That's what nobody wants to talk about. Nick Saban had went 3 years in a row without winning a national championship, which to any normal team was like, okay, you went 3 years in a row. But that was the first time Nick Saban did that in like 20 years or something, dude. Like basically since he started coaching, he never went 3 years without winning a national championship until the last 3 years. And I mean, that's just something that team was already on the decline. They already had some issues internally, and Kalen DeBoer took that team over. Then they lost a bunch of talent. You know, I don't know, man. What do you think?
Honestly, I don't think Bama had like a loss to like a Vanderbilt type team. But do you remember how it set up when they had lost to Tennessee and then they went on a primetime game to LSU and then Brian Kelly beat them as well? And it's like, they tell you watch the trends, watch, history. And history says like LSU does not lose at home at night games. It's rare. So and here's the thing. You never know which Jalen Milroe you're going to get.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. You just never know. So, I mean, but also with this LSU team, you don't know what you're going to get out of them either, It looked like they just could not get it going with Texas A&M was doing, dropping a lot of guys back, bringing pressure, and it looked like LSU was just a bit confused. They had no idea what was going on, didn't know how to get their offense going. Going up against Ole Miss, they had to go in overtime, get a 3-point win. So, I mean, LSU also has its issues as well. But, Alabama going on the road, LSU should feel at home.
No, I agree, man. And I think that, like I already told you, I think LSU is going to win the game. A little fun fact that I saw just looking up here. So LSU only has one loss in the SEC. Bama actually has two. So, I mean, for LSU, it's probably an elimination game for the conference, but Bama, I think, is already eliminated for the conference. So I don't think Bama has a chance to make it to the SEC championship game.
Okay. Here's the thing. Georgia has a SEC loss.
Everyone does. There's no undefeated team in the SEC.
Right. If Georgia was to lose to Ole Miss.
Ooh, Bama has a tiebreaker.
That's why I said this is that's why we have to talk about it in this way. I felt we had to talk about it in that way because you don't know what's going to happen. And then again, Georgia, Carson Beck has been good for 3 turnovers per game, right?
No kidding, yeah.
Ole Miss has the capabilities of exploiting that and capitalizing on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mike, let me read you the teams that have one loss in the SEC though, because it's not just Georgia. It's Georgia. These are in conference losses. They only have one loss. It's Georgia, Texas A&M, Tennessee, Texas, and LSU. So in order for Bama to get into the SEC championship game, they're going to need losses from like 3 or 4 different teams. Now it can happen. Obviously, they probably have a lot of good games coming up. Like I don't know all of these teams' schedules, but I know that I know Georgia has a tough game this weekend versus Ole Miss. I'm sure that these other teams have other good games. Actually,
so you got Texas and Texas A&M going to end up playing each other.
Georgia still has to play Tennessee. That's another one. That's next weekend.
And that's why I'm saying, like, I don't think you can count Alabama out. Now you can also talking about Georgia and Ole Miss, like as we was talking, like I think this could be an elimination game too. And here's this also just makes me go back to the college football playoff because I feel like what you're doing is you're setting up for some BS, bro. You're setting up to give us a BS playoff. And to be honest, let it happen. Let it happen. Let only one SEC team get in or two SEC teams get in. Let it be 4 Big Ten teams. Let it be all these other teams, but only 2 SEC teams. Do you know why? Because I can't wait for the Power 2 to get here quick enough, bro. I'm sick and tired. ESPN got his chokehold on the college football playoff. I want that shit to end, bro. I want parity. I want this the bullshit propaganda that the SEC been putting out or whatever that Heather Dinich and all the SEC media heads was putting out, that Jay Book was even tweeting out about. I heard it. And it is sad. You know how they take the cut up of like the news stations and then they put them all together and they're all saying the same words. That's exactly what you heard from all the ESPN heads. The same argument.
I agree. I agree with you, man. So hey, that would be crazy. Honestly, like people are projected like 4 SEC teams to get in. It'd be hilarious if they all just post each other and there was only like 2 in there and they didn't win the chip, because that would be 2 years in a row the SEC didn't win it. Now, obviously, Michigan won, so whatever. I don't like bragging about that, but still, man, I think that the tides are turning a little bit, and also like what you're saying, I'm excited for that too as the future of college football. Like getting the NCAA out of it. And making it like 2 super leagues. I think that would honestly be the best thing for college football. And this year with the 12-team playoff, I already feel like we have big time matchups that are impactful for the playoffs every single week, which I didn't think that was going to happen. Honestly, I thought it was going to be like less big time games that actually matter. So I was wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong about that, because I think college football this year is going to be a crazy product where we're just going to have big time matchups pretty much every single week. And then once you get down to the playoffs, it's going to be some real crazy, cool, interesting matchups that we're going to get out of this playoffs, especially in like the early rounds of the playoffs where you're going to get home games. Because I feel like not enough people are talking about that. Like, do you know how lit Happy Valley is going to be for a night game home game? Or a night home playoff game. You know how lit Happy Valley is going to be? And listen, my boy in the group chat, Cam, was talking about how Ohio State, he didn't think that our environment would be crazy in that situation. And I absolutely disagree, bro. I know we don't have the light shows. I know we don't have all the stuff that looks cool when you take a video of it. Like, I get it, bro. I understand. But I promise you, put a team in Ohio Stadium at night in a playoff environment where this could be the last game of the season if we lose the game, and I promise you that stadium is going to be rocking.
Yeah,
it's going to be crazy. Bro, I went to the Western Michigan game. First game I ever been to in my life this year. A little story for you. I didn't even make it to my seats. Okay. We bought the tickets last minute. We showed up late. We got stuck in a parking garage for an hour and a half. Then we had to park 40 minutes away, walk there. A 40-minute walk away, me and my son, right? Never been there before in my life. I go to the game. We get there, and it's like by the time we get to the stadium, the first quarter is like almost over. Like it was, it was a bad situation. Couldn't find my seats. They pointed me to my seats, and we walked to the other side of the stadium where they told me to go. And then the lady pointed back to the other side of the stadium and said it was over there. And I said, nah, we're about to just leave, right? I wanted to get on the post-game show. That was the day I got on with Chuck. So I'm like, we're about to just get out of here. I'll just watch the game. Like, whatever, it is what it is. But, Mike, when I tell you it was lit in there, and we were playing against Western Michigan. It was a night game. So, okay, like, whatever. But we were playing Western Michigan. That stadium was lit, bro, and it was loud in there. And the game was not close. So I promise you, put a team in Ohio Stadium at night for a playoff game, and it's going to be one of the most lit stadiums in college football.
Yeah, bro. But that's another thing, though. Will you get the night slate?
I mean, if not, they don't play those types of games at noon. So it's
I
going to be the
mean,
4 or the 8, right? Because they don't do playoff games at noon.
what is it gonna be? Are all 4 games gonna be on the same day, or are they gonna stagger it? You know what
No,
I'm saying?
I
Because
think
like
they're.
that's my thing of the first round. Like, is it all gonna be on one day? Is it gonna be on 2 days, 3 days? Like that first
I think
round.
it's staggered on 2 days.
Okay.
I think it's like 2 games one day, 2 games another day. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure the games are not played at the same time. Like none of the games are played at the same time, and they're all on different days. And it goes for like a week straight or something like that. I don't know. We'll have to look into that. We should know that. You know what I mean?
Hey, another game that I want to talk to you about. Colorado at Texas Tech, man. And to be honest, we talked about Prime. Everybody was hating on him. Now his team is sitting there, bowl eligible at 6-2. But in conference, they are 4-1, tied with Iowa State at 4-1, and BYU leads the way at 5-0. And guess what? This is another conference where they don't play each other.
Mm-hmm.
This is some Mickey Mouse conferences, bro. Like nobody plays each other. Like at least Oregon plays Ohio State, Penn State plays Indiana. Oh damn, Ohio State's just the Ohio State seems to be the outlier, but there's something to at least go off of, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's nothing to go off of. Like, what are these tiebreakers going to come down to? Because Iowa State and Colorado, what if they both finish 4-1?
They got to have
I
some
mean,
kind of rule to
not
separate it.
4-1, but with just one loss in conference. Like,
yeah. They got to have some kind of tiebreaker to separate it. I don't know what it is for each conference. I feel like it's different for each conference.
It might be. And I'll say this as well. Because here's the thing. Colorado, you're 6-2. If you want to make the playoffs, you cannot afford any more losses, right? Let's say they got to the it got to the conference championship, lost a close one to BYU, who will probably be, 4-3 in the top four seeds. You still leave that 3-loss team out and penalize them for playing in an extra game. Because if you think people don't want Prime to be in there and that won't be numbers just because Prime is in the playoff game, you're crazy.
I do. I want to see him in there, dude.
That's what I'm saying. You think people don't want to see Shedeur?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You think people don't want to see Shedeur,
Travis,
and Prime, and Nasich, and Travis, dude? if they can take care of business, they're gonna get in. They'll make sure they get in there. If they just take care of business and don't make it to where the committee can't put them in, then they'll be there.
Because my thing is this, bro. 3-loss, they're not putting the 3-loss Big 12 team in there. They're just not.
Mike, can I say something real quick? Because I looked this up. What we were just talking about the playoff schedule. I gotta get out of here in a minute, but I want to finish talking about this, dude. They are playing a noon game. The first round of the playoffs is December 20th and 21st. So you're gonna have a December 20th at 8 p.m. You'll have one game, and then on the 21st you get 3 games. You get a 12, a 4, and an 8 p.m. game.
See, they on that trash, Terry. I told you, Terry.
That's crazy.
I told you, Terry. And you know what they gonna do up north? They're gonna make it. They're gonna make the up north ones. If you playing up north, they're gonna make the early ones or whatever.
Yeah.
Because that's when the sun gonna be out. They don't want to be out there in the cold. We already know how it's gonna go, unless those schools get to choose when they want to play, which I don't really think that they're gonna have a say, but it is what it is.
You know what? That actually might go off of seeding as opposed to like who's north and south. It actually might go off of like this, like the Friday, December 8th or December 20th game at 8 p.m. might be like the number 5 seed or whatever their game. And then I don't know. It doesn't say. It doesn't break it down that way. But
I'm gonna tell you the reason why it don't break it down that way is so that they can they can do what they want to do. I'm telling you, man. And you know, you got to get out of here. There's one more game that I wanted to talk to you about was the team up north at Indiana. You know, what are you expecting from that game? Some people want Indiana to go ahead and lose. I'm not one of those people. I want Indiana to go ahead, stump a mud hole in them. Juju Lewis was supposed to be there. Word came out that he will not be going there. Shout out to the Bag Boys, wherever they are, who probably stopped that from happening, because I'm telling you, Kirk Cignetti, he just need that one high-profile athlete that's going to help recruit other guys there, and that program is going to take off, man.
Yep. So do you want what I think is going to happen or what I want to happen?
What you think is going to happen?
I think Michigan's going to win. I think that Michigan's terrible, and I've said all year that they can lose to anybody, but I also think that they figured a little bit out. They figured a little bit out to at least not turn the ball over 3 times again. And I think that their defense, if their offense cannot turn the ball over, I think their defense is going to give Indiana some problems. And if I had to pick that game right now, I'm saying Michigan's going to win it like 24-21.
Terry, bro.
I want Indiana to win, dude. That's why I said I want Indiana to win 56-5 or 56-7, whatever. 56-7.
You are telling me that Indiana is going to lose to a team. You're saying that they're figuring things out. The most that they have scored is what? 27 points?
Mm-hmm.
27 points is the most that they have scored all season. And you're trying to tell me Indiana at home is not going to do more than that?
I think that the score is going to be like 24-21. I think
30 game. That place is, bro. Indiana can be rocking sometimes too.
I mean, that's also true. Like, I don't know what Indiana Stadium is with them being undefeated this late in the year. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that home field advantage looks like. Obviously, I know Michigan is in shambles, and I could end up eating my words. And listen, I hope that I do because I want them to lose. But if I'm being real with you, I think that Michigan's going to win that game. Like, that's just where I'm at.
Johnson playing? No,
I don't even know.
They don't even have no DBs. I think that what they both their top DBs have been out. Bro, don't whatever Terry drinking, don't drink it. Indiana about to blow them bums out. They trash. That ain't water. Hell no. We gotta get you some high quality H2O. Terry been drinking that Flint water.
That's that new no fluoride water. You get me?
But man, we're gonna get out of here on that note, man. Make sure that you hit the like and subscribe button. Hey, share this with a friend. Appreciate Steven Cherry in the chat. Appreciate Gmo in the chat, man. Appreciate y'all holding it down.
In there.
And our guy Mark. Yeah. Appreciate y'all jumping in. And with that, we are out of here.